So it says interview and persuasive essay. Different texts such as an interview and a persuasive essay can address the same topic. An interview is a series of questions and answers. So the interviewer asks the questions and the interviewee answers the question. So one day when you get a job, they're going to interview you, they're going to ask you questions, and then you'll be the interviewee and you will answer their questions. Why should you get this job? Because I'm a hard worker and I'm responsible. And I'm organized and clean, right? So listen to each voice in this interview about starting a soup kitchen. Do we know what a soup kitchen is? So yeah, we help make food and donate it to people in need. So it's not like we're profiting from the sales, yet we are, baking things and selling things so that we can donate them and give them away. There's a company called Great Harvest. They have a storefront so you can buy some things, and whatever's left, they end up donating. So look into the text. What's the biggest lesson you've learned since starting First Slice? So that must be the name of her company. The smallest things can help change somebody's life. Saying hello to a homeless person instead of looking away. So all of this is going to kind of, get you a little bit. Let's see what else we have. So it says soup for the soul. Mary Ellen Diaz's food is good enough for Chicago's best restaurants. Instead, she gives meals away to people in need. So if you could turn to 560, you'll see on the bottom left and the bottom of the page is the yellow words. Those are, our vocabulary words that we practiced yesterday. I will start at the top. Pie is a symbol of community, and giving the first slice is like giving the best, says Mary Ellen Diaz. Diaz is the founder of an innovative, that means creative, Chicago soup kitchen called First Slice. This organization gives the first slice to people who rarely get anything special. A former chef at Chicago's acclaimed, so famous, North Pond restaurant, Diaz feeds 400 homeless people each week, preparing delicious meals with fresh, locally grown, mostly organic ingredients. Dishes like butternut squash soup or spicy multi-grain vegetable soup. Oh man, those sound good to me. Wish she included the recipes. First Slice Soup Kitchen is successful partly because of generous people who work as volunteers. They donate money or they become customers. Diaz opened a restaurant called First Slice Pie Cafe. It serves a seasonal menu including made-from-scratch pies. Diaz also started a program that allows busy families to help the hungry. At the same time, they're making their own schedule a little bit easier. Families may sign up to receive 3 gourmet meals a week. Every meal is nourishing, balanced, and prepared from local organic ingredients. Profits from both the private chef service and cafe go toward the kitchen. So she has her business, and she also donates some of her own, and then she flips that over and gives that away. So this is the part that goes to the question and answer. So the interviewer and the interviewee. So somebody asked her, what inspired you to leave your job as a chef and launch First Slice? Her answer says, I had a great restaurant career, but I felt like I had to make a choice about whether or not to stay. I wanted to be home at night reading books to my little girl instead of slaving away in a kitchen. I was also reading a lot about Jane Addams. She ran her own community kitchen that served food to people living on the street. She also helped women who were trying to enter the workforce. Jane Addams is still very much the inspiration for First Slice. I also started volunteering in soup kitchens, and I realized feeding 40 to 50 people takes talent. I never thought of using my skills that way until then. So she had a little inspiration. She talked about, changing her career. The next question they asked her was, what kind of food do you cook at First Slice? Last year, we made a lot of Cajun food to feed displaced victims of Hurricane Katrina. We also get a lot of requests for food with Latin flavors, dishes that might use tortillas. Smothered pork chops are really popular. A pot of greens is definitely a big thing because most people on the street don't have access to farm fresh produce, right? You get like pre-packaged, preserved foods. It's interesting, a lot of our clientele, which is customers and people that she helps, grew up in rural communities. And they know more about growing fruit and vegetables than I do. Rural is more farming. They ask really specific questions about the soil and the farming methods. And it's wonderful that we can make that fresh from the farm connection. So she's connecting with her people. On the picture on the right, a student volunteer helps prepare a meal for First Slice. On page 562, we have a couple more questions. Where do most of your ingredients come from? So she says, I use a lot of local suppliers that I did when I was a restaurant chef. The farmers I work with are community-based and a bit quirky and anti-establishment like me. So they just wing it, right? If you grow the crop and you have a good crop, then you sell it. It's not like a pre-planned, like our lunch service. Every day she shows up at the same time. They have everything planned ahead, the month ahead, right? Sometimes you have to be flexible and creative like that, especially when you're doing a business like this. You have to work with what you have, and the food industry. Soup is a big part of your program? She says definitely. In the fall and winter, we serve soup on a street corner every Tuesday night to homeless youth. Could you imagine being a teenager and living on the street? There's no one to provide you with food or shelter, and you have to find this nice lady at the corner giving away food so that you have food and nutrition to eat. We probably have 30 different recipes of soup. I hide a lot of vegetables in our soups. I play the same game with the kids on the streets that I do with my own 2 kids. So we sneak vegetables in your food, just so you know. They might think they're eating just cheddar cheese soup, but it's been thickened with vegetables like butternut squash. Add those vegetables in. My husband would not be happy. He does not like soup, so he'd probably go hungry. What's the biggest lesson you've learned since starting First Slice? And then that is what we read on the first page. She says the smallest things can help change somebody's life. Saying hello to a homeless person instead of looking away, or cooking something really simple and giving it to a homeless person so she feels good. You can always donate a little piece of food, or a can or a bag of something. How do you work with volunteers? There's a food writer who comes in 4 hours a week, and all she does is roll pie dough for us. She just loves pie dough. We serve a lot of pie, and making pie dough is really therapeutic. There's a man who comes in and just wants to chop onions. He recently applied for a job at a new gourmet store. He didn't get it, but I was thrilled that chopping onions gave him the confidence to start looking for a job. He's been out of work for so many years. So that's what she's saying. Just the little stuff of allowing people the opportunity to help can inspire them to want to do more. You know, you guys have learned how to cook at school, and you want to go home and you want to cook more too. And you washed your dishes yesterday, even though you guys said, I don't want to wash my dishes. You realized if I clean up my mess and I help out, you can transfer that information home and you can help out with your families. And when your mom is not feeling well or somebody's too tired, you can offer to make them a meal. Even if it's get them a bowl of cereal and clean their dish up after. We've learned how to cook grilled cheese and soup. These are all important things. And, you know, I have a student who loves to make fried potatoes. So, you know, we can do that again sometime. And the eggs from my fresh farm, right? So 563. What's the best way for people to help the homeless? Make a connection with a food pantry and find a way to donate. We do food drives all the time. Fresh fruit and vegetables are always appreciated. We get that fresh fruit in class all the time. Canned beans are always great to have around. Rice, dried grains, canned tomatoes, and jarred salsa are good to have. Even a jar of pasta sauce and a box of noodles. I have issues at the fact that the first thing I see in most food pantries is overstarched, oversugared things. Homeless people need nutritious as much as anyone else, if not even more. What do you eat to stay healthy? They asked her. She says, I eat lots of salads, like ones with carrots from the farm, radishes, organic greens, blue cheese, spiced pecans, petitas, which are pumpkin seeds with bacon on the side. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff. Those are her favorites. How do you find balance in your life between work and family? It's neat that I can bring my kids to anything we do at First Slice. They love, oh, so that's her son on the side. Oh, no, but it's a student, but she can bring kids to help out. They love what I do, and they love to come with me. The people get a kick out of them, and vice versa. My daughter mentioned to me this morning that when it's her birthday, she's going to have a party and ask people to bring her a toy that she can donate to kids in need. Oh my goodness, that is so special. So on the next page, we have a pro and a con. So this will be the persuasive part of the article. It says, would it be fun to run a restaurant? Somebody says yes and somebody says no. So half of this has to do with your interest. Half of this has to do with your, are you a hard worker? Are you energetic? Do you like to work hard? Are you organized? Do you have people skills? Because you can't really work in a restaurant if you don't have people skills. Do you ever get a grumpy waitress? Or somebody that's rude? That's no fun. If you're not good at that kind of job, do something different. But so the lady on the left says yes, running a restaurant is a lot of fun. And the one on the right says running a restaurant is no fun. So let's read what they say. Wouldn't it be great to have a job that you really like? I love my job. My aunt does. She runs a restaurant. I think working in a restaurant is a lot of fun. For one thing, you get to be creative. I love being creative. Association culinary creativity plays a key role. According to the National Restaurant Association, culinary creativity plays a key role in the restaurant business. When I help out my aunt in her restaurant, we create many recipes for each night's menu. The menu creativity and effort inspires restaurant employees and makes customers feel special. A second benefit of running a restaurant is that you get to make other people happy. Food makes everybody happy. According to the National Restaurant Association, 4 out of 5 people think going to a restaurant is better use of their time than cooking and cleaning up. I know that my aunt feels good about making the quality of people's lives better. Restaurant food is costly, so a lot of people don't get to go out, but it's nice to have it if it's a treat for you. If you don't do it too much, it's a treat. And if you're the one that's cooking and cleaning all the time, it's always nice. I love when we have to go out to dinner sometimes so that I don't have to cook and clean and shop and all that stuff. So finally, the most important reason that running a restaurant is an enjoyable job is because you get to be part of the community. My aunt is involved in many community groups, and a lot of meetings are held at her restaurant. The restaurant is a great space to relax and socialize. If you want a great job, I urge you to consider working in a restaurant. You can develop important skills, be creative, and meet different people. Raise your hand if you think you would like to work in the restaurant business. It's a lot of work, and it's very fulfilling. On the second hand, running a restaurant is no fun. Do you want to feel stress, real stress and pressure every day at your job? Of course not. If you don't want a stressful job, you probably should not work in a restaurant. Running a restaurant can be a very tiring job because it's so much work. My cousin Steve is a manager of a large restaurant. Steve often has to work up to 14 hours per day. A recent article in the San Francisco Chronicle supports Steve's experience and stated that restaurants are among the most labor-intensive of businesses. Those people barely get a break. You got to sit down and walk back and forth and serve everybody. Furthermore, having this much responsibility at work means you don't have much free time to do other things you like to do. Another problem with running a restaurant is the possibility of losing your job. Everyone knows that the restaurant business is very risky. According to a study by Cornell University and Michigan State, a quarter of all new restaurants in the United States is out of business in the first year. That number rises to 50% after 3 years and 70% after 10 years. So you better be very creative with your menu because these restaurants don't stay around for that long. And that risk puts pressure and stress on workers who have to worry about losing their jobs. For all of these reasons, I strongly believe that running a restaurant is not much fun. If you want to enjoy your free time, avoid stress, and have great security, you may want to consider another job. I'll stop here and I want you to think about a job that you would like to have when you get older. Is it involving food and restaurant and socializing and fast pace and stress? Or is it a relaxing job where you sit at a desk or a computer and you work at your own pace?